Have you ever been praised for being a mature child? In the adult world, this is often seen as a compliment, a sign of early wisdom. But in the inner world of a child, it is often a silent curse. Understanding others too soon is not a gift, it is a survival strategy. You learn to turn down the volume of your own existence. You became quiet so that you would not disturb the fragile peace of the world around you. Obedience was the price you paid for safety. You traded your spontaneous joy for the approval of adults who were too overwhelmed to handle your true needs. As the years pass, the child grows up, but the chains remain. They transform into a perfectly tailored suit that fits well, but feels like a cage. To the outside world, you are the reliable one, the one who never complains. But inside, you are still that child holding their breath in the dark. The mature child becomes an adult who is an expert at reading others, but a complete stranger to their own desires and their own inner voice. This is the story of how being good became a prison, and how you can finally begin to break free from the weight of being too understanding. You developed a superpower, the ability to detect the slightest shift in a room's atmosphere. You could feel a storm coming before a single word was spoken. When you touched your mother's sadness, you became sad too. You learned to mirror her emotions just to make her feel less alone in her pain. When you felt your father's anger, you became invisible. You shifted your shape to fit the narrow gaps left by the volatile emotions of the grown-ups. You became a child psychologist before you even knew how to solve basic equations. Your childhood was spent managing the emotional stability of your primary caregivers. You are now fluent in the language of empathy. You can understand anyone's perspective, explain anyone's trauma, and forgive almost any transgression against your own soul. Yet you remain illiterate in the language of self-forgiveness. You can forgive the whole world, but you cannot forgive yourself for simply being a human being. An internal surveillance system was installed in your mind at a very young age. It watches your every move, judging if you are being useful enough. The eye tells you that your needs are a burden. It whispers that to have an opinion or a desire is to risk the safety of everyone. You learn to walk on eggshells until your feet became scarred. Now, even in your own home, you feel like a guest who must stay quiet. You are the helper, the listener, the one who solves everyone's problems. But when you are the one in pain, you find you have no words. You feel responsible for the happiness of everyone in the room. If someone is frowning, you assume it must be because of something you did wrong. This is the mature child's tragedy, being able to hold the world's hand while no one is there to hold yours when you finally feel small. The surveillance system equates your existence with your utility. You believe you only deserve to take up space if you are actively fixing something for someone. Self-neglect becomes a habit. You are so busy making sure everyone else is fed that you have forgotten what it feels like to actually be hungry. You have become a master of others' biographies, while your own life story remains unwritten. Buried under the weight of 1,000 shoulds and musts, why did we choose this role? We didn't. As children, our minds formed a confirmation bias to make sense of an unpredictable and often overwhelming world. The mind recorded a simple equation: when I am helpful, I am loved. When I am quiet, I am safe. When I perform, I exist. We saw that our parents were struggling. In our primitive logic, we decided that the best way to help was to not have any needs ourselves. This bias created a web of beliefs. Every time we were praised for being good, another thread was added to the web, reinforcing our narrow identity. We started to fear our true selves. We feared that the real us, the one who gets angry or messy, would be too much for our families. Toxic shame began to take root. It told us that our very nature was a threat to the peace of the home, a burden to be hidden, you became a chameleon. You shifted your colors to match the walls, the furniture, and the moods of the people you loved the most in life. The mask of the mature child became fused to your skin. You forgot where the mask ended and where your actual face began to breathe. This is often a generational echo. Perhaps your parents were also children who had to grow up too fast, passing down the only survival skill they knew. Your nervous system learned that calm is only achieved through control. You control yourself to control the environment, hoping to keep the chaos at bay. But that ember of authenticity never fully goes out. It stays there, hidden in the basement of your psyche, waiting for the day you are safe. The pressure to be perfect is an exhausting weight. It requires constant vigilance, constant scanning of the horizon for any sign of disapproval or potential conflict. You are terrified of making a mistake, because a mistake feels like a total failure of your identity as the one who has it all together. The library of your mind is full of books you never let yourself read. Stories of adventure, rebellion, and simple, selfish joy that were deemed too dangerous. Understanding this bias is the first step. You are realizing that your maturity wasn't a choice, but a cage built for your own protection long ago. As an adult, that childhood obedience doesn't just disappear. It hardens into a set of iron chains that dictate how you interact with the world. You find it impossible to say no. To you, a refusal feels like a betrayal. You would rather burn yourself out than disappoint a casual acquaintance. You are the ultimate people-pleaser. You have become so good at anticipating needs that you solve problems for others before they even know they have them. Conflict is your greatest fear. An argument feels like the end of the world, a signal that you are about to be abandoned and left alone. These are the shadows of your repressed anger. Because you were never allowed to be angry as a child, your rage now has nowhere to go. The anger turns inward. It becomes self-criticism, a harsh voice in your head that berates you for not being even more perfect, even more helpful. You feel like a fraud. You think that if people saw the tired, resentful, and needy person underneath the helpful exterior, they would leave you immediately. This is the burnout of the soul. You have given so much of your essence away to keep others comfortable that there is nothing left for you. Self-abandonment is the greatest cost. You have become a ghost in your own life, a secondary character in a story that is supposed to be yours. Your voice has been silenced by the habit of compliance. You have so many things to say, but the fear of being difficult keeps them locked away. You are stuck in roles that no longer serve you, in relationships where you do all the emotional labor, because you don't know any other way. When stress hits, you revert to that 5-year-old trying to keep mom and dad happy. The survival mechanism of the past is destroying your present life. The internal disconnect is agonizing. The perfect exterior is a hollow shell, and the real you is screaming for help from the deep inside. You cannot keep this up forever. The chains of obedience are too heavy for any human to carry for a lifetime without eventually breaking apart. This collapse is not a failure, it is a signal. It is your soul telling you that the mature child can no longer survive in this world. Healing begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of hating your mature self, we must learn to look at it with deep and profound compassion. Go back and meet that child. See them not as a victim, but as a brilliant strategist who did exactly what was needed to survive. That child was a hero. They sacrificed their own childhood to keep the family ship afloat. They were brave, smart, and incredibly resilient in their own way. Don't try to break the chains with force or anger. Instead, reach out and touch them with the warmth of understanding and the light of love. Say to that child, Thank you for protecting us for so long. You did a wonderful job, but you are safe now. You don't have to carry this. This is the essence of compassion-based therapy. We don't fix ourselves. We befriend the parts of us that were forced to grow up way too fast. When the child feels safe, the adult can finally start to live. The energy used for survival is now available for creativity, play, and genuine joy. You are learning that you are allowed to be too much. You are allowed to be messy, to be loud, and to have needs that others find inconvenient. Forgiveness isn't for the people who hurt you. It's for the child inside who thinks it was their fault that the grown-ups were unhappy back then. You are becoming whole. The mature wisdom remains, but it is no longer a prison. It is now a tool you choose to use, not a command. You are safe. You are loved. And most importantly, you are finally allowed to just be a person without having to save the entire world today. The journey to freedom is a daily practice. It begins with the courage to be difficult and the strength to say the word no clearly. Every no to others is a yes to yourself. It is a boundary that protects the sacred space where your true soul lives and breathes daily. You are learning to feel your own sadness without trying to fix it. You are letting the rain fall, knowing that it brings growth to your inner world. Playfulness is the ultimate rebellion against a childhood of seriousness. To be silly is to reclaim the years that were stolen by premature responsibility. You are writing your own story now. It's a story where you are allowed to be the protagonist, not just a supporting character for someone else's drama. CH1EF, Alan healing is not about becoming perfect. It is about allowing yourself to be imperfect and realizing that you are still profoundly worthy of being loved. You don't need to be useful to have a place in this world. Your value is inherent, born from the simple fact that you exist as you. True connection only happens when we show our true selves. When you stop being perfect, you finally give others the chance to truly love the real you. The curse of the mature child is breaking. The XI letter 1EC1 NG zich, the chains are gone, replaced by the wings of self-knowledge and the power of radical self-acceptance. Start by understanding yourself. Listen to your own heart as carefully as you used to listen to the footsteps of the adults in the next room. True freedom begins when you dare to release the chains of obedience, choosing to live a life that is finally and beautifully honest to your soul.